What up, what up, what up? Happy Friday, happy Friday. I was like pointing to you, hoping that you would say something, but no, didn't happen.
Hey,
what's going on?
Hey, guys.
What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday.
What's up?
We're going to get into something I would say is controversial. We're trying to stay away from the controversial stuff.
I mean,
it can get pretty dicey in this.
Okay.
It can. Before we get into it, of course, though, you know what we got to do. Right? Man,
intro?
Exactly.
Like,
what's going on, everyone?
okay.
I'm Shadell, co-host of Paging the Simpsons. I'm joined by my lovely fiance,
Lauren.
Now, before we even get into like this topic, I'm just gonna say we're not experts. This is just our 2 cents in this vast world that is growing, I guess, or vast like section. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're making it so weird.
I don't know. That's why
We be talking about being vegan,
I mean, if you couldn't tell by the podcast title,
but not really,
yeah. So if you want to get into this a bit more,
because he wants to use clickbaity titles.
I kind of just follow this off of what I follow off what you do.
Okay, but
so I don't call myself a real vegan. But
we're not vegan.
But then again,
we
don't
eat
call
meat.
ourselves.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're not gonna hide it. So sorry. If you were a vegan hoping that we were vegan, you're probably clicking off. Sorry. See you
it's not the point.
sometime.
But I'm saying this because there's some video I watched on YouTube. I forgot what it was, and there's different types of vegan people. I think it was the Jubilee video. I feel like where they spot out like who's not.
No,
what.
but those people actually were vegan.
But here's the thing. But people have like
different perceptions of what
exactly.
that includes. Because it's like, okay, if there's leather in your car, like there's
it's
different categories.
It's
but
handling your own way.
I feel like all those people were vegan diet wise.
I don't think so.
I thought they were.
I don't think so.
Because that's where I feel like it starts, is like your diet. You try to not have the animal products and byproducts. Yeah. And then it can expand from there to cruelty-free vegan cosmetics and pleather and all that stuff.
So I'll lead into what you're kind of like vaguely leading into. So yeah, we aren't like true vegans. So Lauren, she does it more so for health reasons, where she has to like cut back on like dairy products and eggs, almonds, that stuff. Gluten. So it's more so like gluten for health reasons. And of course, since we live together, I follow along, whatever, for the most part. I get my ice cream and like certain things where I'm like, yo, I can't live without. Or like rice cakes. I'm like, shoot.
It's not for nothing. I think you're snoring more now that you're cheating more again.
I think I'm snoring the same. I think, okay, if you want to talk about this on the podcast, I think it's because, like I continuously say, whenever you have something, the following day, you get anxious or you get something in you where it's like, oh my God, I have a problem.
That's
like,
not, no.
Happens every single time. This
that's
does
not what
happen.
we're talking about.
No, this doesn't happen anytime when it's...
not what we're talking
but,
about.
Yo.
I'm simply saying you snore louder like a truck when you eat like crap. And honestly, that is correlated. A lot of things point to that.
That's great.
So
but
don't.
Please tell me, how come you didn't have a problem with me the other day when I had a bunch of it?
Because I was already passed out.
You were passed out then.
Okay.
I came in later. Exactly. So you can have your point. It makes sense. But it also doesn't make sense when you have an event the next day or a wedding or whatever you have to get ready for.
Sir.
And I come in and you have a problem with me. And you want to kick me, beat me up, all this stuff. Like, yo.
You make it sound so bad. Man, I wish I could push you on the floor sometime.
I wish I could kick you in the face sometimes, but I hold back. I resist.
Wow, this podcast took a turn, guys.
Shoot, like, yo.
Talking about being vegan and nice to the animals, but we want to kick each other.
Exactly. So, as I'm trying to say here, yeah, we're not 100% vegan. I follow along. Yeah, and maybe depending on how I feel, but like, we just went to a place called G-Zen up here, and that's what it's called, right? Yeah, and like, man, it was really good. And like, I like going to these places where it's like you can have
There's a lot of good places.
like your vegan foods and like they know how to make it so it tastes good.
So yeah, the primary thing is I don't call myself a vegan. However, I like to go to vegan spots because a lot of times, first of all, vegan spots also cater to gluten-free because they're separate. They're different things. But they also, a lot of times they recognize the allergen and that people are eating vegan for allergies sometimes. So they combine them. So when I go out to eat, I'm safer there. I know I have options. But it's like, yeah, we've been like, so in Connecticut, there's vegan places all over, but you kind of have to travel for some of them. Because they're not like, it's not like a chain restaurant that's in every single town. So,
yeah.
But we found some really good ones, even though it can take like 45 minutes, an hour to get to it. It's pretty fun to actually like find new vegan spots. But yeah, so that's why I go to vegan places because I know they take out the dairy and egg. In other restaurants, everywhere has a gluten-free menu, which is well and good. But usually that's like what it is it's just gluten-free. So if you ask and you're like, well, what about dairy and eggs? Eggs especially is the really tricky one because a lot of recipes use it as a binder. So for example, I still have trouble finding really good bread or bagels or English muffins in the stores because it could be gluten and dairy free, but then not egg free. And it's a very tricky predicament. But so it makes my life easier. Yeah. So that's, I guess.
I want to focus on like two things out of this episode. One, is it safe for kids to be vegan or vegetarian? Well, more so vegan. We'll focus more on that. And then also on this like backlash of like recently YouTubers coming out saying like they're like no longer vegan, and a lot of it's due to like health reasons. And just like the backlash that comes from it.
The interesting thing, so I'm in a page called Vegan Connecticut on Facebook. So it's a place where you can go and you can ask like, hey, what are good vegan places in this town and this, and that kind of thing. So it can help. It's very interesting to me that when you have to specify that you also need gluten-free, though, some vegans can come for you that you're only doing it for health reasons. That's when I get kind of turned off. So I am not vegan, and I admit to that. I own it. But I think it's respectable that you do that for the animals and for the environment and everything. That's great. I can see why. But I think that's when you turn people off to being vegan, or the possibility is when it's like with anything else politically or whatever. If you are going to shove it down their throat and berate them for not doing it for your ideologies, that's where it kind of becomes an issue, because there's been several times on that page, like I have to ask, oh, is this gluten-free? Like they'll find something that looks so yummy in like in Big Y or something, but I ask if it's gluten-free, and like sometimes they like come at me like, well, why does that matter if you're on a vegan page, and like all this different stuff, and like I'm like, dude, because also then you have the nicer vegans who are like, well, at the end of the day, if they're still eating less animal products and byproducts, isn't that a good thing? Like, they're still helping some. So like, I'm like, chill.
Well, it's also, you remind me, because it's like, it's people that buy electric cars to be like, oh, I'm all about the environment. And you tell them, hey, I just got a new car. Oh, it's an electric car? And you're like, it's not. And then they get mad at you because, oh, you're not helping the environment.
Right.
It's like, you can do what you do. That's fine. But like, what? I don't understand that whole like attack because I choose to do something different than you.
And again, it's like I'm on that page, not because I'm vegan, but because of the vegan places I go. Like we're going to the casino tomorrow to see the comedian, and it's like I asked if there's any friendly places for someone who needs something vegan and gluten-free, because I don't know, because again, it's tricky. So I don't know, the people that are here's the thing, I get it when it's basically just your diet and you're also not completely getting rid of everything. They call you plant-based. you're plant-based instead of vegan, which I totally understand because that's what it is. But I don't know. That's not a problem. Anyways, I digress. What I was going to say in regards to the person that you said got off the vegan diet, which again, take it with a grain of salt. We'll talk about their vegan diets, even though we're not completely.
Well, it's more so the backlash because well, I'm reading to add to this, whatever you're gonna say. It's a lot of like these people that have done it for a long time. It's not like they've been doing it for like 2 years or whatever.
Well, my thing to that though is I wonder how they're doing it. Just like with anything, any diet, guys, any diet, paleo, keto, vegan, plant-based, whatever the heck you want to do, you can do it really well. You can do it in the middle, or you can do it really bad. All diets have junk foods that you could basically be like, well, I'm still vegan because I'm eating vegan stuff. I'm not eating meat and byproducts and all that, but it could literally just be like the vegan cookies and the vegan chips and the like everything, you know. There's a way. And yeah, I admit I'm not perfect. Like I eat a lot of the bad stuff that is formulated for vegans and gluten-free and all that. But that's part of it too, is when people are like, you can't live that way. You can. If you do it right is the preface, as well as I am a firm believer, get whatever you're doing approved by your doctor. And I don't mean a regular doctor, like I go to a naturopathic doctor. I mean one of those. Homeopathy, naturopath, all those different those who focus on lifestyle changes as part of your health care, not focused on medications as your health care, those are the people who are actually going to be your advocates for what diet and lifestyle works for you. Because this works for me. And the funny part is, you say how you do it with me, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, I'd be curious if you got the allergen test done, because what if there's like something so random on there that I'm totally cool with that you can't be eating? Or what if gluten is totally fine for you, but it's awful for me? Like, there's it's very subjective. Everyone is different. So I would definitely get it overseen by a doctor like that as well, because people like nowadays, I know people are all about keto. I couldn't do keto. The stuff I have to eat on keto is stuff I can't be eating right now. So for me, that makes zero sense. But if I were a person that didn't know of my allergens and I just wanted to lose weight or something, then I might be like, oh, I want to try it. But that's when you play into what is healthy and what's not healthy for you.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I feel like the people that do vegan, it's one for the animals, and then you do have the people that are there like doing it for health reasons as well, or it could be separately. I would suggest, if you're looking to find out the best, like what's best for you, is taking that test with the naturopath, and I'm not sure whoever else would be able to supply that test to you, because that would be like helpful for you to know, like, hey, I shouldn't be having almonds, because like a lot of things that are vegan, they mostly have almonds in them.
See, that's the funny thing is, originally, before, the allergen test is a finger prick, and it's not covered by insurance, at least not around here. But before we had done that, we did the cheaper alternative of doing a blood test, which is usually pretty accurate too. However, my blood work did not all come back. So what we saw originally was gluten and dairy I need to cut out. So I started with just those two. Well, a year later, we did the finger prick test, and what we found was eggs and almonds had skyrocketed, and it made a lot of sense because, first of all, they were probably already sort of bad for me, but when I went gluten and dairy free, I upped my egg and almond intake because I was having almonds as nuts and I was having almond milk, and I was just having more eggs in general, just because I felt like it, and I felt like I was doing good. So... again, like you don't know what you could be doing until you figure it out for yourself.
And I will say, I haven't taken it. I don't bland too.
Come on.
But I will say, like,
I just want to know.
Being on the outside in and seeing, like, you take it and then, like, you cut back on, like, what you are eating and all that stuff, where, like, yeah, you get sick a lot more. Back then in the days, eating, like, the regular gluten food, bread, like, all that stuff. All the stuff that you love but can't have. It's you do see a change if you're, like, doing it for a health reason and you're like, hey, I don't want to get sick that often, or yeah, like, it does a lot better for you. One thing I do love, because I keep my lunch at work, like, I keep away from, like, the breads, gluten, all that stuff, so it's very, like, straightforward. And I love how, like, everyone else is coming back after, like, having a pizza or burger or whatever, and I'm sitting here having,
that
like,
afternoon slump.
Yeah, I'm having, like, carrots and apples, and I'm still feeling energized, because, like, I'm still working off my early morning workout, and, like, still feeling the pump, and, like, I'm all good. It makes you feel a lot better than everyone else around you, because you're sitting here like, man, I'm one-upping this, because, like, I'm not feeling slouchy. I'm not feeling like a grump and all that stuff. So, again, even though we're not, like, true vegans, as I guess the minority of the people that are a part of this,
we're plant-based to a degree, because we do still eat meat is the thing. That's the primary thing, is obviously we eat meat, so we can't be vegan. But it's like a lot of the byproducts we don't have anymore. Because, like, we don't have regular butter and cream cheese and cheese and milk and all that.
So my next question is, say we had a kid near future and you're still doing this. Do you plan on, like, keeping the same eating habits?
I mean, well, for me personally, yes. I'll do what I have to do for me, because, I would talk to my doctor. Because she has a couple kids, and she, I believe, is gluten, dairy, and egg free. And I don't know what she does with the kids. I know that if you do it the right way, especially early enough, they'll be fine. Like, because you think about it, they don't need cheese. They don't need milk and, like, all this stuff that you can substitute with the substitutes, as long as they're still getting, like, fruits, veggies, hardcore, and, stuff that America's told us we should have anyway, but that on this lifestyle you need to eat more of to get your protein and your energy and your health up and all that. I mean, if they're, as long as parents we were able to make sure that that's happening, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, I think it could still be balanced. I would probably talk to my doctor, because she not only has the professional experience but the personal experience too.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's funny that you say that, because I was thinking, like, there was a podcast I was listening to, and this woman, she said how she's, like, gluten and dairy free, I believe. And all, it's like her whole household, and, like, she can afford it. Like, she's a famous, well, her husband's famous. He's a football player, and, like, it's interesting because, like, there was her son goes to, like, what was it, like, middle school or high school, something like that, and, like, the teacher was saying, like, you need milk and all this stuff, and, like, the kid's like, no, you don't need milk. And, like, the kid got reprimanded because he's sitting there, like, knows more than the teacher, and the teacher's like, no, you're not right, and all this stuff. And, like,
I can't stand
it. It was so interesting. So
the whole milk thing drives me insane.
Yeah.
You don't need it. And what you're getting from milk is small. You can get so much more from other foods. Supplements if you have to, but as children, you can get them from the foods. And the sun. We're talking about vitamin D, then hello, go and play outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, literally. And, like, my doctor talks about all the time. She's serious, like, about, like, it's called, I think, grounding, like, literally going barefoot outside and, like, being one with the earth kind of thing, and, like, that does something for your body. Like, she's very, you've seen I do all different kind of remedies that the average person wouldn't do.
It's all stuff that you could find.
Right. It's all about, like, what can you do with what you have? Like, I do these sock treatments that are supposed to, increase my vitality and increase my body's ability to fight something. and it's just simple.
No, I'm with it.
And so I don't know, it's very interesting.
I'm with it because I always like when I go to like, I don't know, when I'm trying to like set things or like find a food that I like and like I'm trying to debate if it's like good for me or not, I sit back and like you read the label or you like look at it and you can sit there and say to yourself like, is this something that you can make on your own, without needing like the machinery or whatever that these companies like have? And if you like have to answer yes or no to that, like rice cakes, I can't make that. Like that comes straight from a factory type thing. Like what? Like some people make their own like baby food. Like they buy like the carrots and they smash them up like
processors,
different things like
food processor.
Like that's the stuff that I think is all cool and it's like stuff you can literally like
well because and that's another thing that she would agree to is that's when it's in its best form. You're gonna get the most nutrients from it versus the baby food if it's already been. You don't know how long it's been sitting. It's mixed with processed ingredients, like things like that. What was I going to say? I feel like I was going to say something earlier. I don't know.
And one thing is funny, like whenever you mention this to like friends or family, like they're like,
oh my gosh, they look at me like I have 3 heads.
And I'll say at first, I was like, I don't know if I could do this.
Me too.
Like, you know this.
Listen, guys. I grew up Italian, okay? Cheese is like a religion, okay, in our household. I love cheese. That's the hardest part for me. I was never like a straight milk drinker, so that doesn't bother me. Even the pasta at first, I was devastated with gluten. I was like, oh, I need pasta. Pasta was my thing. But there's solid gluten-free pasta, so I found that what's the word I'm looking for? Resolution. Yeah. Cheese is the one thing. I have found some. I'm starting to find more that more closely resemble what I'm looking for and actually like I really enjoy. But cheese is the one thing you just can't get exactly right. Like you can't, like it's just not the same. And so like for example, I make a mean Alfredo sauce and I can't, like they try with they're like dry cashews and nutritional yeast and all this different stuff. It's not the same. These whole like these quote unquote cheesy sauces, they're not cheese, so like, and they'll be like sweet potato based or they'll be, carrot based because it's like, oh, mac and cheese color. And I'm like, but no, it doesn't taste cheesy. It just looks it. Yeah. Like it. Oh my gosh. So cheese is the one thing that's the hardest for me. So yeah, I remember when she told me originally when it was gluten and dairy free, I thought I was going to die. Like I would, and I went to her. I did. I told her, I said, it was my last straw. I'm like, I will do whatever you say, but I will not always like it. And that was a big adjustment for me. And then when I had to go egg and almond free, almonds, whatever, but eggs was hard because it just made it a deeper layer of like, you have to take more away and you have to get more creative and like, oh, but so I get it. It's like you think about it. That's the thing with my friends. It's like you think about it and you think, I could never do that. I was you. Growing up, I said time and time again, I could never do that. I don't know how people do that. That I want to live my life, blah, blah, blah. But then your perspective changes. When you're someone like me, my perspective went from, oh, I want to live my life and enjoy food to I want to live my life and actually enjoy my life. Yeah. Because, I'm not sitting here saying I will live longer than people or that, I'm immune from cancer or whatever can happen. But I'm at least taking control of what I can and knowing that day to day, I feel overall better and I'm not getting sick as much and I'm not getting as many migraines and like all this different stuff. Like that's massive for someone like me because of my background.
It shouldn't. I also feel like.
So it outweighed it.
I feel like going out to eat and like coming out of the restaurant feeling like so slouchy and tired isn't normal. Like we make it normal because like that's what we've done growing up, but
so not only that, because like if you don't eat it for a while and then you eat it, like I'll have a cheat meal once in a while. I'll love it during it, but immediately after, I'm exhausted. I usually get a migraine within the next couple hours. And I can feel my mucus production already like kicking up, especially if I eat something super cheesy like Alfredo sauce or something like that. Like it's super immediate. Like your body can tell a difference. So there's that. Added to the fact, I saw in my paper today, so I picked up fun fact, guys. I'm doing my first juice cleanse on Monday, so it'll be the day before we post this. And
it'll be days before. This is the Friday episode.
Oh, this is Friday. My bad. It'll be a few days. But my doctor wanted me to do a 1-day juice cleanse. And it's like, she calls it a juice cleanse like feast or something because of how much you're drinking. You're actually going to be more energized and you're not depleting your body. You're not depriving it, because a lot of times people think of a cleanse and like you're dying and you're starving and you're exhausted. Like apparently it's not going to be that way with the types that she got. They're like fresh, was it called, cold pressed, organic, and like all this different stuff. And so that's going to be interesting. But where was I going with this? Oh gosh, I had a point.
The thing is that you're afraid of that, and that sounds like heaven to me.
Well, see, I'm very even though I've become less of a picky eater with this lifestyle, I still am sort of picky. So it's hard. And like chugging a 12-ounce bottle of something I hate is like really hard for me. You could pour some out
to me and say that you did it. I'll take it.
No, I want to really do it.
You don't understand. Like if
I gotta
next time we go to New York and we're close to it, I want to go to like one of those juice stores so I can like make my own drink of whatever. Like those are so cool and like so like they're pricey, but like I love that when you can like mix fruits and vegetables and all that stuff and come out with like some nice like drink.
Well, yeah, these came out to like almost $10 a bottle.
Yeah, they're pricey.
Yeah, yeah.
But
and apparently that's a good deal, is what I was told. So I'm like, wow, okay. Oh gosh, where was I going with it? There was a specific reason I was bringing up the juice cleanse, because you were talking about feeling terrible after a cheat meal, and it was gonna correlate somehow. On the paper she gave me about like how to do it and stuff, it was saying how apparently 70% of our energy is spent digesting each day. Because like you're always digesting and trying to break down food and all that stuff. So you couple that with eating bad all the time. Yeah, it's like no wonder that we're all so exhausted. It's not a surprise. It's really that simple, which is interesting. Like it's overwhelming at first when you make the lifestyle switch, and you kind of take it in strides. You don't do everything at once, or else it's like anything, you'll not want to do it anymore. Yeah. But I mean, once you start seeing the results, it much overweighs the fact that you can't eat everything you want to all the time. Because there's a lot of times that, you know, I'm like, oh, I really want that pasta, or I want that bread, or whatever it is. I'll be out at an event, or I'll be out eating, and I have to make a conscious effort. Like we went to Dave & Buster's a few weeks ago, and you're over here with this like awesome burger with like cheese and everything. And I worked so hard with the waitress to make sure I can get something that I could eat that was not going to have anything that it couldn't have it. And in addition to that, it was way healthier than anything I would usually order out, because also, it had like zoodles and tomatoes and all that. At
the end of it, I'm sitting there like after the fact, like, yo, I'm tired.
I was fine. I
know why I did that.
And I wasn't, you know, the cool thing too is after eating it, so I was full and I was satisfied, but I wasn't overly full and gross feeling.
That's what I was feeling like.
So like that's the thing too, is it definitely fills you up where you're not gonna have to eat for hours, and like you can go about your day, but you're not sitting here like not wanting to move because you could roll over. Like
you could roll me up out of here.
Right. Like the girl, what was her name, that became the blueberry in Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Like
yeah. So that's why I'm just really passionate about it. And I know that people close to me, some of them get annoyed with how much I talk about it or things like that. But in the end, it's like if you care about me, then you should be happy that I finally have found something that works for me and that is actually improving my life. And like, you know, and I feel so grateful for the people who actually care to make an effort to understand it or to not promote it, to like do it not with me, but like go places that I can eat, you know, and things like that. Like that means the world to me, because I'm not trying to be like we were referencing earlier, like the vegans who are like making you do it. I'm not trying to make anybody do it, but if I could educate someone that maybe had no idea this was a thing, and maybe that's what they were looking for, cool. Because again, I was in the place where I was desperate for someone to help me health-wise. I was desperate for my life to change and for just something. I didn't know who that meant. I didn't know what that meant. So when I found this doctor, it was like just the light bulb went on, and it was like, this is what I need to do. So if I could be that for someone,
I find it interesting because it's different when it's like, okay, you have to do it for a health reason. Like I'm not gonna really put much stock into it. But I feel like what's the next part is when you're like, oh yeah, Shadell does it with me. Like I don't do it to the extent that you do it, of course. Yeah. Because like I may get like we went grocery shopping. I'm like, I'll get ice cream. I still get the rice cakes even though it says it has dairy in it. But like
they sneak it in everything, guys. I swear.
But like I may decide 1 week I'm gonna get ice cream that isn't dairy free.
That is dairy free.
That is dairy free. My bad. But like I try for the most part to stay on top of it. Of course, since I'm not doing it for like a health reason, like I branch out a little bit more. But it's like it's kind of interesting when like I sit there and I back you, and I'm like, yeah, like after eating this, I don't feel grouchy and all that stuff, or like I feel like a roly-poly. Like, I don't feel like that.
It helps with bloat too. It really does. You get really bloated from things like cheese and that heavy stuff.
I've noticed that after we've like gone out to eat with like friends or whatever. I think we went out on a date a few weeks ago. I was like,
that was like last week.
Well, when the time this podcast comes, it'll be 2 weeks. But when we went out, I'm like, man, of course I'm getting like the chicken that has like the little like it was dipped in flour, all that stuff, and it's good. But after that, I'm just like, blah. Like I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really know where I'm going with that part. I would say I would have people try this for like a week. Like take a grocery trip and like. What?
I mean, I preface that by saying again, I think,
doctor?
Yeah, I think you should see what works for you. What I will say is, overall, what she has said is most people could benefit by eating less or none of gluten, dairy, and eggs. Those are the top 3 allergens, which makes a lot of sense because it's in like everything easily. If you go get the average stuff at the grocery store, it's everywhere. Yeah. Like, I have to make my own taco seasoning because there's dairy in it. And let me tell you, when I make the taco seasoning, it tastes the exact same way as the one you would get pre-made at the store with dairy in it. I don't know why it has dairy in it. Like, what is the whole point of that?
Yeah, and they're not going to change it for the minority.
And like, and I don't know if it's like, oh, it makes it more moist or something. Whatever. It's perfectly fine when I use it, like, without it.
Seasoning. What do
I don't know. So, yeah, it's like she has said that, if you say you want to try it, probably the gluten, dairy, and eggs is like, that's the top 3. And that is why a lot of people, even though some of them want to get on the trend of gluten-free, like some people just want to do it, that's not a terrible thing because it's one of the top. So chances are your body could benefit from less of it. So, because you have to think gluten is, like she explained it, it's a lot of wheat, which is made to not die in the fields. Yeah. So, again, overprocessed things are bad for your body. So if you're putting something that has pesticides or is made to literally never die in your body, that seems not great. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah. So, I don't know. That would be my suggestion, but
I'm with it. I agree.
Yeah.
That's our take on this. I just wanted to share it because I thought it would be an interesting topic, and I've been wanting to do this probably since we started the podcast. Is like touch on this topic, and I'm like, okay, finally there's a chance we can.
I will say I could see the benefits in being completely vegan. Diet wise, I see it as far as like, I know meats are not the best for you either. meats can make you also more tired and heavy and just that whole kind of thing. I'm just not there yet. But I don't know if I ever will be. But
yeah, I'm not sure. Meats are tricky. As much as like it would be cool,
you can do tofu and all that. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I can see, because that also is like you would be healthier without it. I could see why. And a lot of people hate when you say that. The people who are on the other side of not supporting vegan, and they're like, well, where do you get your protein and where do you do that? I love the where do you get to your protein?
Beans.
There's
things.
Literally, Google it. There's a chart of like beans and vegetables and everything that will give you exactly what you need. You just got to be eating it. Like, I can't with that.
I was just watching the page on my iPad just float away.
What?
That was so crazy. You missed that whole thing. I was looking down.
I saw something in the corner.
I put my pen right here, and it was just like...
What?
Oh, damn, it was doing it. I think it's like the magnet or something is like doing something.
Oh, that's wild.
All right, my bad to get sidetracked there. But that's our take on it. As always, I'm trying to encourage everyone. I'm trying to know your thoughts, your opinions, your views. You know, please send us a voice message. You can do that in the description. You should see a link to anchor.fm where you can send us a voice message, and we'll play it on our next episode. And, I mean, if you don't want to send your voice, you don't want us to hear your voice, that's fine too. Send us your question, comment, opinion, view, whatever, at our email. We can read it out on the podcast, PagingTheSimpsons@gmail.com. One last thing before we get out of here. Lauren and I would appreciate it if you were to rate and review the podcast on iTunes.
5 stars.
Yeah. With that being said, I don't have anything else.
Nope.
So it's time to wrap up and roll out. I want you to do an intro this time.
It's the outro, actually.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean.
You got this.
I want you to handle this. Because I remember last week you said you were going to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you already did all the rating stuff.
No, go ahead. Repeat it. Repeat it all.
All right, guys. So you have to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, Pinterest, rate us 5 stars, nothing less, because why would you, on iTunes. Send us an email at, is it PagingTheSimpsons@gmail.com?
Yes.
If you want us to shout you out and answer a question or something like that. But that's it for now. We will see you next Tuesday. So I am, oh gosh, this is weird. I am Lauren, and I am joined by my lovely fiance.
Shadell.
Haha, see, I switched it up on you.
Yeah, but you okay, let me take the wheel on the ending
Man.
part. With that being said, I'm Shadell, co-host of Page of the Simpsons. I'm joined by my lovely fiance,
Lauren, who says men don't always have to go first.
Clap it up for the men in the room.
Boo.
Clap it up for the men in the room. Did you say who you were?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, with that being said, we're going to be out, guys.
Bye.
Peace out.